All right, so today what we're going to do is I'm going to be showing you how to blur out your background or black out your background, I should say. So the first thing you want to do is choose an animal or a person to black out the background of, and you're going to need to turn that picture into black and white. So I've already done I'm going to use this picture here, but I'm going to show you how I edit the pictures out with this one right here. So the first thing I always do when I'm editing black and white is I switch it to black and white. And then I, of course, play with my contrast and my exposure. And I kind of mess around with my highlights and shadows. And I want my shadows to be really intense and my whites to be really bright. I really want those to kind of pop together because when you bring them into black, you want that to kind of fade into it. I also go around and I play with these right here, and I want those details to really come out, and so I'm going to bring those up, really darken those details so you can really see the fur on him. And I'm going to bring up the texture, and I'm going to bring up the clarity down a little bit more. So now it just has this really intense look. So after you're done adjusting it and kind of getting it to the point where you've got that really nice bright white and really nice dark black, then you're going to bring it into Photoshop. Like I said, I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go to Edit In, and I go to Photoshop 2020. Now, I'm actually going to switch to the online version of things too, just to show you as well. So first I'm going to show you in Photoshop, and then I'm going to bring it into Pixlr so you can kind of see this, like what these tools would look like in Pixlr. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make a new layer. So I've got 2 layers, and then I'm going to, on this layer, I'm going to select the background, and I'm going to use the quick select tool to get the background. Works nice. Press Alt to get the nice lines. Now, the more time you spend really perfecting this first details here, the less time you have to spend working to repair it later. And this project can be pretty labor intensive, this assignment or this editing process, because it takes a lot of like brushing back and forth, especially with something with fur. If you're using a person, it's not usually quite as bad, but when you're using an animal, to get that fur to look good against the black, it's a little more challenging. All right. There we go. Oopsies. Just gonna get this last little piece here. I keep scrolling over this. Right. Then, once I'm happy with that, I'm going to right click and I'm going to feather. And I'm going to have it be a radius of 9 because this is a really big photo. So if you have a smaller sized photo, like if you didn't take your picture in RAW, then you want us to have it like 5. But mine is a really large photo, so I'm going to go 9 pixels. I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to go to this top layer. Do not dump your color in this bottom layer. So I'm going to go to my paint bucket, which if you can't find your paint bucket, it's under your gradient tool. And then make sure it's black. And if you dump it on the background layer, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get these weird lines. You don't want that. So I'm going to go over here to this top layer, and then I'll just dump everything on it. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to unselect so I can see what I did. And I'm going to want to go and clean up the edges. And the first way that I clean up my edges is I make my brush nice and big, not very opaque, like 60%, very soft. And then I can go in and I can kind of get the areas that I know I want to have brushed a little bit and kind of fading into the black. So here I've done a little too much. And so I'm going to go into the eraser and I'm going to do the same thing. And it's just a process of kind of pushing and pulling those colors back and forth, getting them just to the point where like you're happy with them. I'm using a Wacom tablet as well to kind of perfect them. So here I'm bringing it back, some of these back. And then I go back to my brush. I'm going to make it a little smaller so I have a little more detail. And I can bring those back. Now, if you have whiskers, you can actually go in and draw them in with the eraser themselves. So I take this eraser, I make it really small, and then I make it a little bit more hard, and then, oh, that's softer. So harder. And then I can go in and I can draw in some stuff like that. So it's really a process of pushing and pulling and kind of getting your colors to really work and blending it in so you can see it blend in nicely. Here is the other one that I did to show kind of what it should look like. See, I manually put in that fur here, and I really got it to look nice and crisp on the outside, but I still have it fade in. The last thing you can do to kind of perfect it is to go into image adjustments and fix it just a little bit more that way. So I'm going to go to Pixlr real fast. All right, so now I'm going to show you what it looks like in Pixlr. So all I did was I had exported my image in Lightroom. So all you have to do is right-click, File, Export, Export with Previous, or Export to wherever it is, as long as it's easy to find. And then I go to Pixlr and I just open the image. So it's the main image. It's a big picture. So now I'm going to add another layer, empty, on top of it. And same as I did before with the magic wand tool, the magic wand tool is back here, so I can select it. I can use, if that doesn't quite work for me, I can go in and use this one, which is, I can use the magnetic tool to select and go around. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. And then it'll select that way. And you essentially do it the exact same way that you did with the other one, with the other tool. Oh my gosh, it's being difficult. You just go, you select your outside layer, and then you dump in the black, and back and forth using the brush and the eraser right here, you can go in and touch it up. So it's essentially the same as with Photoshop, just kind of seeing the difference between the two of them. Like, it's just the symbols are a little bit different for each of them. And so you just need to do essentially the same thing, dump in the color, and then by changing the opacity and the flow of the brush and the eraser, just really perfect it until you are happy with the level at which it is kind of cut out. And so in this one, just to kind of critique my own work, if I were going to spend more time, but I don't want to like waste your time as I really go back and forth, this should take you on something with fur like a good half hour. It should take a while, and I don't want to waste your time by like going back and forth with it. I would make sure that this is nice and crisp. I might darken it a little bit. And then I would also, I like the edge for this nose, but then I would probably really make sure this eye and ear are really well faded, and this doesn't look like it's just brushed into the back. I would really make this look nice and crisp here. It can get a little faded around here because he's blurry here, but where he's crisp, I want the lines to be nice and crisp. What I did in this one was going in and drawing in the fur. It really does have a nice look to it. I also went in and I used the burn and dodge tool. This is the burn tool and the dodge tool. Dodge makes it brighter, burn makes it darker. And you can then kind of make your picture kind of really pop a little bit more. You can kind of get it to have a little bit more areas where it's more extreme shading. And so that's another way you can kind of make your picture just look a little bit better. So that is how you kind of create that blacked out background, make it look like a really nice professional studio piece. I hope you found this helpful, and I am excited to see what you do. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.